My name is Bill Lukash. I'm with Bridgeshore Development. We are the developers for Y Street Townhomes, which is pictured here on the right, on the left. This is part of our Southside Terrace Indian Hill redevelopment plan. It's one of several phases that we'll discuss here in just a little bit. Shown here on the image at my right and left is the picture of the townhomes. There are 14 units. There are 11 townhomes and 3 flats as part of this development. The Choice Neighborhood effort is a group effort. It includes the City of Omaha, the Omaha Housing Authority, Canopy South, our nonprofit partner in South Omaha, Bridgeshore Development, of course, who I represent, Sampson Construction, the gentleman down here on the ground will speak in a little bit. So we really appreciate everyone taking the time to come out tonight and listen about this project. And by the way, I didn't know I was doing all these slides, at least until I handed off to these guys, so I'll do my best. The purpose of this meeting, of course, is to let you know about the bidding opportunity for Y Street Townhomes. We do plan to start construction probably at the end of June or early July. We're still kind of figuring out our schedule. This project, of course, encourages the participation of small businesses, women-owned businesses, and minority-owned businesses. All contractors are encouraged to submit bids. There are several organizations around the room to assist contractors wanting to bid on this project. Meeting facilitation, bidding, federal contractor requirements, C&I housing construction schedule, that's me. And then if you need any help with any of these things, a good starting place here is Zach, who's coming over here. Introductions. Zach, do you want to go through all the folks here in attendance today, or you just want me to read them off? Just read them off? All right. Sampson Construction, of course, you want to raise your hand when I call out your name. Bridgeshore Development, that's me. Canopy South, I don't know if they have anybody here today. City of Omaha Human Rights and Relations, thank you very much over there at the orange table. City of Omaha Planning Department, that's Zach, Grant, of course, Melissa over there. Heartland Workforce Solutions, there you go, thank you so much. Nebraska Business Development Center, thank you. Heartland Worker Center, no? Nebraska Enterprise Fund, usually they're always here. Nebraska Opportunity Exchange. Omaha Housing Authority, I don't believe is here. Greater Omaha Chamber of Commerce, of course, is here. Thank you so much. And City of Omaha, Douglas County Purchasing. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks to everyone. So the agenda tonight is just to go over the Choice Neighborhoods Initiative. I'll keep this simple and short. And then turn it over to Sampson, who will talk a little bit about the project. The Choice Neighborhood Redevelopment Initiative is composed of 10 phases. The goal is to redevelop the former Southside Terrace Garden Apartments, and then a couple key properties in the neighborhood. I used to live in this neighborhood for a long time, and so I'm very happy to be part of the redevelopment of this area. The company that I worked for and before when I was an employee at the City of Omaha was very happy to be part of the team that brought this grant to Omaha. It's long needed, in my opinion. This phase right here is one of the off-site phases you can see on the bottom left-hand side of the map. It's the Y Street Townhomes. It's not too far away if you want to drive by it. There's nothing there right now. There never has been. Recently, the City of Omaha put in a new Y Street down there to improve neighborhood connectivity and also to prepare for the development of these townhomes. Construction timeline, as I said, we have several phases that are coming online or that are already under construction. Southside Terrace Phase 1 is just about ready to start lease up. That's the first phase of this initiative. That's a 92-unit development. Phase 2 is already under construction. Sampson Construction here is the general contractor on that one. Y Street Townhomes and Southside Terrace Phase 3 are just about ready to close and begin construction this summer. Southside Terrace Phase 3 is a 113 or 14 unit development located on the former Southside Terrace Garden Apartment site. 3030 Upland Parkway is right across from the former Jedders Depot, the building that was recently fixed up and preserved by Canopy South. Very happy to see that building preserved. Southside Terrace Senior will be a senior development located on the former housing site. That will break ground probably next summer. Or excuse me, this summer, apologies. We have a couple other Arbor Flats is offsite, that's up by Exarban Village. Southside Terrace 4 and 5 are the last two phases that will be redeveloped on the Southside Terrace Garden Apartment site. And St. Anthony's is in the neighborhood. It's a former church located not too far away from the campus. So a lot of work coming up, just to let you all know of what's going on and kind of be aware of these contractor outreach events, because these are opportunities for you to provide bids on these projects.
All right, how's it going? My name is Connor Weiss. I'll be the project manager with Sampson Construction on this job. Behind me, we've got Kent Hazard. We are talking about Y Street Townhomes here. So the project has 3 buildings. It includes some site over excavation, regrading, utility work, concrete paving, sidewalks. The 3 buildings, you start off with building 1 there on the left-hand side. That's a 2-story, 3-unit, and there's 3 bedrooms per unit. That's a little over 5,000 square feet. The building in the middle, building 2, I'll call it, 3 stories, 6 units, 3 bedrooms per unit. That one's a little over 10,000 square feet. And then building 3 on the end there is a 2-story, 5-unit, 3 beds per unit, 8,600 square feet. Here's a floor plan of building 1, so you can see the ground floor and then the second floor. They kind of mirror each other with the 2-story units. Same thing there with building 2 on the bottom. This is your 3-story, 6 units. So the third floor only extends on the one side of the building there. Building 3. Building 3. This is another 2-story building, 5 units. See your ground floor there, and then your floor 2. So the scopes that we're going to be looking for subcontractors to bid on this job, all 3 buildings are going to be wood frame construction, slab on grade wood frame. The building shells are going to have fiber cement sidings and modular brick veneers. We'll be looking for masons, framers, siding guys. They're going to have vinyl windows. Mostly it's all shingle roofing, and then there's a little bit of some standing seam roofing. So anything inside, we're going to be looking for cast in place concrete foundations, interior cast in place storm shelters, slab on grades, unit masonry. Wood framing, all rough carpentry, including wood framing, decking, wood floor and roof systems. We're going to be looking for your finish casework installers and finish carpenters. There's waterproofing, joint sealants, set and door frames. All flooring, I think it's LVT, and maybe some carpet, maybe some tile in there. So flooring contractors, painting. Residential appliances installation. No trash chute. No trash chute on this job. What else do we have? Oh, okay. Plumbing, obviously HVAC, electrical. That pretty much covers these buildings. They're fairly simple slab on grade wood frame structures. Bidding requirements. So the bidding process, we're gonna be, I think we just got the final documents here late last week or maybe just today. So we're gonna be sending out, as long as you're signed up on that sheet out there, we're gonna set a bid date and a time. That'll all be sent out with the drawings and the specifications for the project and all the necessary requirements. We're probably gonna have these due back sometime in the week of April 20th. So we'll issue a bid date out here beginning of this week. You should be seeing something in your email there. And all this information will be in there. The bid submission, they'll just go to that email, estimating at samson-construction.com. And again, that information will be sent out for you guys so you have it. They can also be hand delivered if you're not good with the email and all that. Here is an example of the bid form that you'll receive. So basically you're going to be filling this out with your company name, the scopes that you're bidding, your dollar amounts, everything is in there. You can break it out per building if you'd like. I got that on another sheet here. Here's some more examples of documents that you're going to be seeing. So here, if you're not capable or maybe you don't feel comfortable doing all three buildings, maybe you're a framer or maybe you're an electrician and all three buildings might be too big of a job for you. If you want to bid just one building, you can certainly do that. So just make sure you list that on that bid form that I showed previously. You're only bidding on building 1 or building 2 or building 3. If it's too much to handle, or maybe you're just getting started out, if you want to dip your toes in the water, pick 1 or 2 buildings. But we do hope to see, if you guys can bid all 3, we'd like that a lot too. So
we'll have the bid form will be adjusted for that building 1, 2, 3. So it'll be job specific. We showed you an example, but we'll modify that to make it specific to the job and break it down building 1, 2, 3. So if anybody does want to bid less than all 3, put your numbers in there.
yeah, it'll look like this, and then we'll have a section for building 1, 2, 3.
You see all the buildings on the right, there's multiple. So it'll just be 3 different buildings.
Yep.
Or is that-
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Here's some just general requirements and agreements. Some examples here showing everything. I think you sent this out with the bid information.
Yeah, so we'll have, along with the bid information, there's going to be a long list of exhibits, about, I think there's 9 different exhibits.
Exhibit G and Exhibit G 1 through 9.
So all this stuff will come with the bidding documents. So it'll have all the requirements on the job from Davis-Bacon, all the HUD, all the other signatures and sign-up documents that'll come with it. Along as, we talk about subcontracts. If you have not worked with Samson before and you want to get a copy of our subcontract agreement, feel free to email me. My card's over there at the table. I'm Kent. But email me and I can send you, just a sample copy of our subcontract agreement so you can kind of look at it over and see what all is in it. It's not long. I think it's 5 pages? Yeah, it's not a 30-page crazy document. It's about 5 pages document. But we can get that to you before. But email me directly if you'd like to see that.
Next one we'll talk about here, payment process. We typically like subcontractors to send their pay apps or pay requests on a G702 or G703, just a standard document you can get online. And stored material, you're definitely more than welcome to bill for stored material if you're holding a bunch of stuff in your yard at your shop. All we ask is that you provide photos and certificates of insurance for that sort of material. And we can bill for that and get you paid.
One thing I do want to note before we're done is it's said over there on bonds as well. We don't generally, it's kind of on a case-by-case basis. A bond is not required 100%, okay? There may be cases where we say we do want to bond your company or organization, but we also want to make it flexible for you guys too. So we also use other things like joint check agreements with suppliers. You get the supplier to sign the joint check agreement. You're still buying the materials technically under your contract, but then you give us invoices when they bill you, and then we pay the invoices to the supplier directly, if that makes sense. So instead of a bond, a lot of times we'll do joint check agreements to where we'll help pay for those suppliers. It comes out of your contract amount, but it's basically us writing the check to the supplier. It's a joint check, so it's signed by you and then also the supplier before they can cash it. So there's flexibility there. And if you have more questions on that, please grab me or talk to me after this or something, or you can email me anytime over there too. But more questions on that, let me know. But we do not require 100% bonding. But if you do want to talk through that whole process, just let me know.
Hello, my name is Zach Rose. I'm with the City of Omaha. Tonight I'll be talking about the governmental requirements on this project. So our two big ones are Davis-Bacon in Section 3. You can see the definitions up there. Davis-Bacon, we're making sure that everyone's getting paid fairly. Section 3, we're trying to provide some opportunities to our lower income, smaller businesses. So who is subject to Davis-Bacon? All contractors and subcontractors performing any on-site labor. So this does not include any administrative staff or any office personnel. Apprentices are also subject to Davis-Bacon, and if you want to qualify or classify them as an apprentice, you have to provide documentation that they are in an approved Department of Labor apprenticeship program. Owner-operators are also subject to Davis-Bacon, and they must identify themselves as the owner on the payroll and provide documentation to show that they are the owner and that they are indeed paid a prevailing wage. Wage decision and prevailing wages. So wage decision, if you have questions about this or if you want to see one in person, I have a couple example copies over at the City of Omaha's planning booth over there. Wage decision lists all the available worker classifications and the prevailing wage for each classification. Each project has its own individual wage decision, and it will be included in the subcontractor agreement that you're given. Another important thing to note is that Executive Order 14026 and 13658 do not apply to this project. You'll see that on the front page of the wage decision. Additional worker classifications can be requested from the Department of Labor. Prevailing wage, so workers must be paid a prevailing wage, which is the hourly wage plus the fringe wage. So an example of this is for a carpenter wage is $47.08. You can pay your employee $30.50 hourly plus $16.58 fringe. There's lots of different ways that you can quantify fringe. You can have cash fringe, you can have health insurance, pension, 401k. There's lots of different ways to qualify or quantify the fringe. Davis-Bacon documentation. So workers must be paid on a weekly basis when Davis-Bacon comes into play. And a certified payroll report must be submitted each week. In addition to CPRs, contractors will also be required to provide the following: a subcontractor agreement, a Employee Classification Act affidavit, a SAM registration or a debarment and suspension form, a State of Nebraska contractor's registration, proof of be verified, and then indicate whether the firm is a Section 3 business, SEB, or an MBE or WB. Contractors should also be prepared to provide the following: a fringe benefit plan or documentation of other deductions. This isn't strictly required, but if you do want to have deductions on your payroll or pay your employees fringes, we do have to see both of those. Davis-Bacon compliance tracking. Prior to each project, Davis-Bacon orientation meeting is held with the subcontractors, and this meeting should include any owners, supervisors, or administrative staff. Sometimes we just have owners show up, but we need the staff that's actually going to be doing the payroll there because that really helps. Because down the road, you're not going to remember, and you're trying to tell your payroll staff, okay, I think I remember this, and you remember that. It's good to have them there so that they can take notes and see everything firsthand. Subcontractors will submit compliance documents electronically using Elation systems. This is just the software that we use to track all the payroll and all the documentation required for this project. It's really streamlined. It makes everything a lot simpler than doing the paper process. City staff will conduct site interviews, so I myself will come on site and do interviews, just making sure that I'll talk to subcontractors and make sure that their employees tell me, if they're telling me that they make $30 an hour, I review their payroll on Elation systems a month later and I see, oh, they're only getting paid $20 an hour. We got to figure out why the discrepancy is there and get them paid the correct fair wage rate. A labor standards compliance officer will evaluate the project's compliance and can help address any questions or concerns that might occur. Okay, getting into section 3, so section 3 definitions for you. So to qualify as a section 3 business, more than half of the business has to be owned by a low-income individual. That income threshold for this year is $63,700 annually. That's just individual income. That's not family or take-home. That's just individual. More than half of the business has to be owned by a public housing recipient or recipient of Section 8 housing assistance, or 75% or more of the labor hours have to be performed by Section 3 workers. Section 3 worker is defined as anyone who meets the following: is a low-income worker falling below that threshold again, is employed by a Section 3 business, or is a youth build participant. Targeted Section 3 worker is very similar, it just goes a little bit more specific. Again, employed by a Section 3 business, resident of Southside Terrace or other OHA managed housing, or receives Section 8 housing assistance, or again is a youth build participant. So Section 3 documentation. So if you decide to go that first route where more than half of your business is owned by low-income people, you just have to provide documentation showing proof of ownership and the percentage of ownership between all owners. And then complete a Section 3 worker form for each owner. And then if you choose to go that second route that we talked about, where recipients of public housing or Section 8 housing assistance, again, you just have to provide proof of ownership and then a Section 3 worker form for that owner. And then lastly, if you choose to go with 75% of your labor hours route, you'll have to just provide 90 days of payroll. And then for all those workers on that 90 days of payroll that you want to certify as a Section 3 worker, provide a Section 3 worker form for each employee. So when it comes to Section 3 reporting, I know I kind of touched on this with a few of you who talked to me at the table. So for this project, 25% of the total labor hours have to be performed by Section 3 workers, and 5% of the total labor hours have to be performed by targeted Section 3 labor hours. The project success is evaluated by tracking construction labor hours over the course of the project, and then at the end, we'll total up all the total labor hours, Section 3, and targeted Section 3 hours. At the start of the project, all contractors will be required to prepare a Section 3 plan, which just lists the company's total workforce, a list of project workforce, and then identifying any hiring needs that the company might incur during this project. And then the contractors are also encouraged to engage in other efforts to train or employ low-income individuals. Are there any questions for anyone up here at this time?
Is it a requirement to be a Section 3 to submit an estimate then?
No, you do not have to be a Section 3.
Do, and give Mike to anyone who has questions.
We can take questions individually after we're done with this presentation. So if there's nothing else right now, we can get into smaller groups.
Yeah, that sounds great. I think this next slide just has a QR code. If you're interested in contracting with the City of Omaha's Planning Department, we do some kind of insight work. If you want to scan that QR code and do any work with the city's planning department, just please reach out.
Thanks a lot, really appreciate it.
Thank you.